Okay, I give up. How do you turn this thing on? Look at the power. I pick up the microphone and everyone is silent. All I wanted to know is, how do you turn on the microphone? We will be starting in about 4 minutes. We would ask that you please silence your cell phones. Thank you. May I have your attention, please? Please stand, remove your caps for the posting of the colors by the American Legion Post 20 of Fort Pierre. Please remain standing for the national anthem, which will be sung by sophomore Rachel Runge, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by junior Abby Wiley.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in and gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does I pledge allegiance to the flag
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Abby. At this time, I am pleased to introduce Mr. Daniel Baldwin. By the way, you may be seated. The Stanley County School District Superintendent. Mr. Baldwin will provide us with his welcome address.
Ladies and gentlemen and students, welcome to today's program. Thank you for attending. I am honored to be introducing this program on such an important occasion. We are here today to honor our service members and to remember their sacrifices they have made and the courage it takes to defend honor, duty, and country. We are here today to honor our heroes, to remember their achievements, their courage, their dedication, and to say thank you for their sacrifices. Thinking of the heroes who have joined us in this group today, and those who are here only in spirit, a person can't help but feel awed by the enormity of what we encounter. We stand in the midst of patriots and the family and friends of those who have nobly served. Thank you, veterans, for answering the call to duty. You have made our armed forces the most respected in the world. The service members we honor today came from all walks of life, but they have shared several fundamental qualities. They possess courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty, and integrity. All the qualities needed to serve a cause larger than oneself. Since the first shots of Lexington and Concord were fired and our Revolutionary War began, American men and women have been answering the nation's call to duty. Millions of Americans have fought and died on battlefields here and abroad to defend our freedoms and way of life. We cannot thank our servicemen and women enough for their sacrifices. Again, thank you for attending today. God bless you and your families. God bless our troops, and God bless America. Please enjoy this ceremony.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. Now, Stanley County Junior Clara Atkinson will recite the poem entitled The Unknown Soldier, written by Billy Rose. Afterwards, 5 fifth grade students, Hayden Shearer, Johnny Melhoff, Sage Gruber, Jackson Hofteaser, and Remy Badger will present significant facts about the tomb of the unknown soldier. We will then hear an original poem by Clara Atkinson called The November Draft.
There is a graveyard near the White House where the unknown soldier lies. The flowers there are sprinkled with the tears from a mother's eyes. I stood there not so long ago with roses for the brave, and suddenly I heard a voice speak from out of the grave. I am the unknown soldier, the spirit voice began, and I think I have the right to ask you some questions, man to man. Are my buddies taken care of? Was their victory so sweet? Is that big reward you offered selling pencils on the street? Did they win the freedom they battled to achieve? Do you still respect the Crocsdale Agree above that empty sleeve? Does a gold star in a window now mean nothing at all? I wonder how my girl feels when she hears a bugle call. And that baby who sang, Hello, Central. Give me no man's land. Can they replace her daddy with a military band? I wonder if the profiteers have satisfied their greed. I wonder if a soldier's mother is ever in need. I wonder if the kings who planned it all are really satisfied. They played their game of checkers and 11 million died. I am the unknown soldier, and maybe I died in vain. But if I were alive and my country called, I would do it all over again.
The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is a monument dedicated to the soldiers whose remains could not be identified and stand to pay tribute to these individuals and their contributions on the land, in the air, and at sea during wars or significant conflicts. We are going to share facts about the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The United States built the monument in March 1921. Its opening ceremony took place on November 11th of 1920. Officiated by President Warren G. Harding.
The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is located on top of a hill overlooking Washington, D.C., in the Potomac River at Arlington National Cemetery that covers 624 acres. Although the Tomb of the Unknowns holds the remains of only few individuals, the monument honors the many identified soldiers who gave their lives in armed conflicts.
The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier has been guarded 24/7 since 1937. Tomb guards come from the 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard serving the U.S. since 1784. The Old Guard is the oldest active infantry unit in the military. They keep watch over the memorial every minute of every day, including when the cemetery is closed and in inclement weather.
The honor of guarding the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is also incredibly rare. The Tomb Guard badge is the least awarded badge in the Army, and the second least awarded badge in the overall military. The first is the astronaut badge. Tomb guards are held to the highest standards of behavior and can have their badge taken away for any action on or off duty that could bring disrespect to the tomb. And that's for the entire lifetime of the tomb guard, even well after his or her guarding duty is over. For the record, it seems the tomb guards are rarely female. Only 6 women have held the post.
Guards do not wear their rank while on duty at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Every other service member wears the insignia on their uniforms that denote their rank, but not the tomb guards. Since the identities and ranks of the soldiers within the tomb are not known, the guards don't wear their insignia to avoid potentially outranking the soldiers they're watching over.
Thank you, 5th graders.
The November draft. Oh, the month of November. What days to remember. All the happy times lost by the last weeks of December, as the sun gave up its last hot ember. Oh, the lasting laughter has always been sought after. The days turn cold for the drafter, as the men and women go fore and after. Oh, the cries of goodbyes and all the teary eyes. They will return, were strictly lies. The men who returned noted it unwise. Oh, the month of November, the days no one wants to remember, when one's child returned home so slender. Oh, the month of November, thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call our home's defenders. Thank you to all that we call
The Month of November by Clara is an original poem. Could we please give her another round of applause? We would like you to enjoy the musical selections led by our elementary music teacher, Miss Kim Jacobs-Bauman. First to present will be the kindergarten, first and second grade student. This Land is Your Land by Woody Guthrie. We will hear Singing Freedom's Song by Natalie Sleeth, sung by the third, fourth, and fifth grade students. Please enjoy the music. much. Thank you very much, students. Appreciate that. It is now our privilege to present to you our keynote speaker for this year, Mr. Jack Bickle. Mr. Bickle joined the Army in November 1969. His MOS, or Military Occupation Specialty, was 11 Bravo, which meant he was in the Light Weapons Infantry. He was sent to Vietnam and served for 11 months with the 101st Airborne Division. The first half of his tour, he served on a long-range recon team, and the second half, he served as an Army correspondent, writing and taking pictures for the 101st's weekly newspaper, The Screaming Eagle. Upon being discharged, Mr. Bickle went to college at Northern State in Aberdeen, and now ranches north of Firesteel with his daughter, Robin. Mr. Bickle.
Well, the first thing I want to do is thank you all for letting me be part of your Veterans Day program today. Fort Pierre has a fond spot in my heart because, well, I have kin here, and my niece Abby Wiley is back here in the band, and I'm proud of her. And I do appreciate the fact that I get to be your Veterans Day speaker. To me, Memorial Day and Veterans Day are two of the probably most important days we set aside to honor people. I had the privilege of serving with some heroes. I was not a hero. I just did my job, but I served in the company of heroes. And traditionally, Veterans Day is a day that's set aside to honor all veterans, and Memorial Day is a day set aside to honor those who've sacrificed their lives in time of war. Well, to me, the two go hand in hand. And when I have an opportunity to address any group on either date, Memorial Day or Veterans Day, I generally try to talk about someone that I knew personally and someone I served with. And so today I would like to tell you about a fellow South Dakotan. The South Dakotan was a helicopter pilot. His name was David Soyland. He graduated from high school in Rapid City, South Dakota. He went right into the Army after he graduated. He went to Warrant Officer Flight School. And he and I got acquainted probably in late September or early October in 1970. It was when I was on a recon team. And one of the standard things anybody who's been in the service, and I don't care what branch of the service you may have served in, there's a saying, hurry up and wait. Does that sound familiar to any veterans out there? Hurry up and wait. So the way I got acquainted with David Soyland was my recon team was supposed to go out into the Annamese Mountains. The 101st had this area of responsibility that was right below the demilitarized zone, and it ran out to the Laotian border. And almost all of our terrain were in the Annamese Mountains. It was terrain a lot like the Black Hills. So anyway, we're standing there waiting for the word to load up, and our standard greeting to each other was, where are you from back in the world? Back home was always called back in the world. And so here's this helicopter pilot, my age, and he says, well, you probably haven't heard of where I'm from, Rapid City, South Dakota. And I said, well, I'm from Firesteel, South Dakota. And he said, well, I have not heard of Firesteel, South Dakota. But anyway, here was David Soyland. He'd graduated in '69 from Rapid City. I don't know which high school. But I had the privilege to fly with him and his crew probably 6 times during the time I was on the recon team and then later as an Army correspondent. And he was a great pilot. And the reason I want to tell you about him today is I'm wearing his Palmaya bracelet. If you're unfamiliar with the Palmaya bracelet, the black flag behind me, that's the Palmaya flag. It stands for Prisoner of War and Missing in Action. And so I'd like to tell you about the situation involving David Soyland. He was on, we called them ash and trash missions. It was like resupplying troops out in the field. And he got a prairie fire call. Now, prairie fire, if you're on a recon team, that's of the utmost, well, prairie fire means the situation is getting, it's bad and it's getting worse, and we've got to get out of here ASAP, as soon as possible. And so there was a long-range recon team that was about 10 kilometers northeast of the old Marine base of Khe Sanh, and the North Vietnamese had detected their presence, and they were surrounded. They had some wounded, and so they needed somebody to get there as soon as possible. So Soyland and his crew diverted from heading back to Camp Evans, our base camp, and they headed there. Okay, so now they're approaching what they hope is going to be the pickup zone, and they flare out to the right just a little bit. And in the helicopter, Soyland was the left-hand pilot in the left-hand seat. And as they flared out, a rocket-propelled grenade and enemy machine gun fire raked the helicopter. It blew the tail off of the helicopter. One of the door gunners was actually thrown out of the helicopter, which may have saved his life. The helicopter went down. The co-pilot on the right side was pinned in the wreckage, and it was such a steep slope that they just ended up going down the hill, down into the valley. The other door gunner, he managed to get out. So David Soyland, he was last seen running through the jungle, going across this ravine and up the other side with the North Vietnamese hot on his tail. Those of us back at Camp Evans that had flown with him, we were stunned when we found out his helicopter was down. We were waiting for word, that maybe another helicopter managed to pick him up, and to this day, David Soyland is still missing in action. My family always loved going to the Black Hills on vacation. And one of the things that was popular among my 3 daughters was going to the water slides. And I was never particularly interested in going to the water slides, so I would generally go downtown and I would eat at a Vietnamese restaurant. And I'd just wander around, and I happened to, for whatever reason, go into a pawn shop in Rapid City. And I didn't buy anything, and I'm just about ready to leave, and I see this little container on the counter next to one of the cash registers. And I look inside, and it had probably 15 or 20 Palmaya bracelets, Prisoner of War, Missing in Action bracelets. And I pick up the first one, and it wasn't anybody that I recalled their name. The second one I picked up, and I have it on right here today, was for my friend David Soyland. So I think I spent $10 and I bought his Palmaya bracelet. I thought that was really quite a coincidence. Well, there's a coincidence involving David Soyland that's even greater than my small trivial coincidence. And it took place, there was a pilot from South Dakota. His name was Scott Sabo. I think he graduated from high school over in Willow Lake. And this would have been in 2002. He was going to be deployed to Iraq. And he met his sister. His sister's name was Ann Remington. And he met his sister in Washington, D.C., and they were having some family time together around Christmas and New Year's before he was going to be shipped out to Iraq. So they went to the Vietnam Veterans, or the Vietnam Memorial Wall, and at the wall, they had the opportunity to buy a Palmaya bracelet. And he wanted one from a South Dakotan, someone who was MIA, missing in action, from South Dakota. and he preferred to have one from someone who'd been a member of a helicopter crew. He picked out a Palmyra bracelet for David Soyland. So now you fast forward to November 15th in 2003, and in a terrible dust storm in Iraq, two Apache helicopters were taking off, and in the dust storm got too close to each other, and the two helicopters, the rotors chewed up one helicopter, and all aboard both helicopters were killed. So Scott Sabo passed away. And just another little note, Sheldon Hawk Eagle from Eagle Butte, South Dakota, he was aboard one of those two helicopters. He also lost his life. So two South Dakotans out of the 17 passed away on November 15th, 2003. When Scott Sabo's family was given his personal effects, his sister, Ann, requested that she have the Palmyra bracelet that they'd picked out together that he wore in honor of David Soyland. And the rest of her family was agreeable to letting her have the Palmyra bracelet. So Ann was a nurse at the Hot Springs Old Soldiers Home. And I forget what year it was. I think it was probably around 2005. An old soldier from South Dakota by the name of Ted Soyland checked in late one afternoon. And Ann, something jogged her memory. Ted, Soyland, Soyland, Soyland. Then she thought, oh, I have a Palmyra bracelet for David Soyland. So she went to her jewelry box that night and she got out this Palmyra bracelet. The next morning, when she reported to work, one of her first jobs was to give Mr. Soyland, Ted, his entrance physical. So she was meeting with him, and in the course of visiting with Ted, she said, Mr. Soyland, is there any chance that you might know a David Soyland? And he said, why, yes, David Soyland was my son. And she showed him the Palmyra bracelet, just like this one I have on. And he had no idea that these Palmyra bracelets existed. And he asked her if he might have it. And she gave it to him. Ted Soyland became kind of a foster grandparent to her children, you know, and they were friends until he passed away. I'd like to read you something that Ann posted on her brother Scott's memorial site. Hey, big brother, remember that missing in action bracelet you picked up when you came to visit my family in D.C. during our last Christmas together? Well, I had the great opportunity to give it to the pilot's father. It was such an honor. It was an honor to give him the bracelet in memory of his son and you. I wish you could see the pride in his father's eyes. I miss you so. Love always, Ann. Ted passed away the 28th of August in 2011 at the age of 83. The Palmyra bracelet, it was passed on to his family. He had 3 sons. You know, okay, I'm 71 years old. I turned 20 in a foxhole, and I turned 21 a half mile from the Laotian border at a place called Lang Vei. And I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm 71 years old, and I get to be here in front of you. I have a lot of friends that are like David Soyland, either MIA, never been accounted for, or that didn't get to live on past their, say, 20th, 21st, you know, their birthday. You know, they gave their life in service of their country. And I had a good friend, his name was Fishbeck. He was from Florida, and he was our battalion pathfinder. And he got killed late in March while we were at Quezon. And the night after he died, there were probably 15 of us in a big bunker, and we were talking about all the audacious things that Jay Fishbeck did as our battalion pathfinder. And this one soldier, he was a Sergeant E6, and I didn't know him very well, and I don't remember his name. But he said something, and I hope if you don't remember anything of what I've told you, that you will remember this one thing and remember veterans, the ones who are still here, and the veterans, their buddies that didn't make it back. But his quote has always stuck with me. He may be gone, but he's not truly gone until the last one of us stops talking about him. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to be your Veterans Day speaker. I feel very honored and privileged, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bickle. We appreciate your words and your service. We ask that you join us in singing America the Beautiful, led by all state choir members Rachel Runge, Caitlin Axtell, Hayden Rogo, Riley Runge, Keely Rochettle, and Stephen Hassert.
Skies for amber waves of grain, for majesty above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful
At this time, we will recognize the 5 branches of the armed services by playing their marches. If you are currently serving in uniform, are a veteran, or are the family member of a service veteran, please feel free to stand and be recognized when your march is played. United States Marine Corps. United States Army. U.S. Coast Guard. United States Air Force. United States Navy. Thank you, band. We wish to thank our veterans, their families, for their service and sacrifice to our country. Please stand as we observe the retiring of the colors led by the American Legion Color Guard. Thank all of you for attending. We hope you had a wonderful Veterans Day. Please be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. Middle school and high school children, please remain seated until the elementary leave. Thank you, everyone. Parents, you may pick up your elementary children in their classrooms if that's what you would wish. Thank you.